platforms and people's opinions, everyone seems to have a different idea of what a protest vote is. So my personal question to the president is, what is a protest vote? What should we, or what is expected of us? Because many people are confused about this. So that's question number one. Number two, we have from Juliet Sechtoreko. She's asking, what can we do about Yasin Machete? And many people are asking about Yasin Machete because we stood with Dr. Kiza Besigye. We did the 48-hour thing. Can you hear me? And people are asking about Yasin Machete. The second question, I'll probably put down three. The second one.
May I request that I respond to those so we make this interactive? Thank you very much. Protest, vote. Protest, vote. Just like it sounds. Akalulu ko kwe kalakasa. It's a protest vote. We are protesting against the injustice. First of all, by going for that vote, it's a protest against the fear that the regime is trying to plant in the population. The regime since 2021 has been pushing a narrative deliberately on radio and TV, politicians discouraging people from getting involved in elections, saying, elections is fait accompli, elections is a done deal, so don't get involved in elections, to the extent that they went as far as announcing a person that came number 3. You remember the election in Omoro, but most importantly in Kayunga, where we won on every single polling station. And we have the declaration of result forms. However, the regime, Mr. Byabakama, in all his shamelessness, went ahead and announced Mwonge a regime candidate. This was intended to make people hate elections. And indeed, some people said, oh man, I will never go to elections again. It has taken us so much persuasion to convince these people to understand that whoever is trying to block them from an election wants them to go violent, because once the anger pumps and pumps and pumps, it will explode into violence, which violence the regime prides in. So, going to the polls, we are protesting against the fear that is deliberately being planted in us. And not only that, we are protesting against the regime imposing leaders on us. We are protesting against injustice, against the rampant corruption that I was speaking about earlier today. We are protesting against family rule. We are protesting against a presidential monarchy. So it is a protest vote that we are protesting against all these things. And it's a protest vote because it's a vote that if they rig, we intend to protest even much more in different ways that I might not be able to name right now for obvious reasons. But we are going into a protest vote in Uganda. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You
Mr.
also
President.
asked about Yasin Machete. Yeah, and I'm very glad you asked about Yasin Machete. Yasin Machete is pencil thin. I am not very sure how he is today. The last time I was in prison, a few days ago, he was so thin. His mother requested me to go to prison with her and persuade the son to at least start eating and abandon his hunger strike, because his mother believed that I'm the only person that Machete would listen to. Unfortunately, when we reached there, after all the talk, Machete explained to us, and we understood and respected him. He said, Mama, I want to be taken to court. I've been here for more than 4 years. I'm here illegally because the Supreme Court, ruled, pronounced itself. Then I'm here illegally. If I don't get justice, I will never get justice. And he said that if he dies, we must ensure that at least they take his body to court so that he gets justice. Now, that's very painful for me to be saying right now. As an individual, and I mentioned it a while, me and a few other friends, because Machete is a Muslim, we took time to fast in solidarity with him and keep praying. But that is not all. We ask you, comrades in the diaspora, to raise Machete's voice, to highlight his plight like we have done with other people in the past. Machete's life matters too, and his life is on the line, and is in prison illegally. And pressure works. If we raised pressure and Dr. Kebi was brought to court, and now he's being tried in a civilian court, we believe we can do it for Machete. And my call is that in whichever language, in whichever style, let us agitate for Machete. Because if he dies, before we do that, we will never forgive ourselves. I thank you.
I've got a couple of my other questions. Can I carry on?
Please go on.
Yeah, the next one is from Madraxis Nelly. He's asking, is there any way that people who are not able, like people in diaspora, who are not able to attend the leadership school but have interest in doing so, is there a possibility of arranging something online so that they too can get to learn what others are learning? And the next one is from Mulunji Elvin, who says that there is evidence of the candidate, NRM candidate Farida in Kawempe. There's evidence of videos of her giving money to supporters to vote for her. Can we use that evidence to take to Biabakama by any chance so that she could be disqualified?
Thank you very much. I apologize that maybe I will respond to this question and leave my colleagues, Sasi Marvin and my other fellow leaders to carry on with this program. However, I must remind us, because we all know, that we are under capture. There's no rule of law in Uganda. I've already mentioned that in a Kayunga election where we have all the declaration of result forms, they announced the loser. And that's how it is. And in many cases, petitions have been brought, but because there's no rule of law, the regime always gets away with it. You have seen criminals beating people, killing people. You have seen people abducted, and the courts don't function. I mean, you have judges like Singiza who sent Kakwenza to prison instead of sending him to the ICU. You've seen judges sending people like Dr. Besige to court. This is a whole rotten judicial system. We have people that are illegally in prison. We have Machete who is on the verge of death in prison illegally. That means that there's no rule of law. So, coming to the NRM candidate, yes, we've all seen her giving out money. But you've seen much more than that. You've seen goons protected by police with the national guns in police and military uniform beating our candidate in open air. The most they said is, oh, it is wrong, but maybe because looks like the NUP candidate paid the police to beat him. Apparently, that's what they say. So Uganda is a joke until we turn it into a serious country. We are going into this election, but we want to win overwhelmingly with a knockout. Because if we don't win with a knockout, they can do anything. This is the reason why we say this is a protest vote in the real sense of it. Because there is clearly no fairness. I thank you.
Yeah, and, Mr. President, I understand that was your last question, but in regards to that particular one, we've seen the high rise of Dam7's government in prediction to 2026, whereby we can kind of predict or have a little bit of a picture in 2026 how it's going to be, where we're always attacked and we are beaten and we are taken to prison. And then at the same time, we are charged for no reason. Looking at the 21 people other 25 people that were held at the Kawempe today. What plan do we have in regards to that particular moment where we have our people who are being arrested? Because it looks like Museveni is trying to keep us busy between the court and fighting us, court, putting us in court, being busy in court. What solution or what's the best way we are looking into 2026 if this is a continued kind of thing?
First, you'll pardon me, I will not tell you the exact plan, right, because we don't want to be